Hello and welcome to the Tech Home Builder webcast. I'm your host, John Galante, president of AE Ventures, and I'm thrilled today to be talking to the leadership at Compo Builders in Michigan. We have the president of the company, David Compo, as well as director of operations, Brian Herrick. He's kind of lurking in the background there, and he'll poke in and out. David is definitely, or Compo Builders, I would say, is definitely, I would classify them as tech home builders. They're definitely tech forward. They've been trying to push the envelope on tech for as long as I've known them. It's been a good 4 or 5 years now, I think. And he has a special home, a project that we thought was a real exemplar. And we wanted to get the skinny on the tech features in the home and the whys and the wherefores. And David and Brian were kind enough to share some of that information and spend some time with us on this webcast. So for starters, David, if you can just tell us a little bit about Compo Builders.
All right, I've been in the building industry pretty much my whole adult life. My parents were custom home builders, and my grandfather was a builder, and we moved forward. My mother was a design builder where she was designing the homes, and I followed in her footsteps. Currently, I'm the president of the Builders Association of Southeast Michigan, which is about 2,000 strong. So we're one of the largest associations in the country. We are currently, this home that we're sitting in is the Parade of Homes. It's on the cover of the Parade of Homes magazine. It was the first place winner in design last year of over $850,000 value. They kind of put it for value versus putting it for size. It's a ranch home, 2,800 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, daylight, lower level, not a walkout, but and that's unfinished, but designed for the future, including future and tech. We have never been the one to repeat homes. It's a design build firm. We design specifically to the needs, wants, desires, and budget of our client. Sometimes the client knows a lot of what they want, and other times they have no idea. They just know they want a new home because what's available in the current market doesn't really suit their needs. So that's why they build custom versus building either or buying existing or building with a production company like your Tolls and Pulte's and things like that. Mm-hmm. So we set ourselves apart by doing anything that they can possibly think of. We've done indoor pools and elevators and theaters and every type of construction that you can imagine. We've done it. We embrace the different, but we're always giving advice to do what we feel is the best way. So we set ourselves apart not only by doing that one custom design specific to their needs and budget, but we also have a list of 40 items that Compo does that all the other builders in our market consider, those are upgrades to do. And that's more infrastructure wise, from Energy Star 5-star plus, the heating and cooling equipment to our waterproofing system and our foundations. The windows we use, everything we do is a big step above, and we do it both for the client, obviously, but it's from experience, and it's a self-serving prophecy. So we end up getting a better product out there. We're much more reasonable. If other builders were to charge for what we do standard, they would charge a lot more than we do, but because that's all we do as a starting point, no matter if it's a 2,200 foot ranch or a 20,000 square foot home, which we do all that and in between, as well as remodeling, where we can set ourselves apart by having a totally different product. So we attract the discerning buyer. And that's what we set ourselves apart to do, with a lot of attention to detail and any option they can think of. So that's where we're at.
Gotcha. Cool positioning there. So tell us a little bit about this Southeast Michigan Parade of Homes. Are you participating on a regular basis, and why did you decide this year to enter such a tech-forward home?
The Parade of Homes, it's one of the largest home shows, certainly the largest in the state of Michigan. Generally has about 100 homes in it by a lot of builders. Some builders will have 1 or 2 or 3 products. Personally, Compo has not done a model in 12 years. We haven't had a model or a spec. We've been so busy, fortunately, since the downturn especially, that we haven't had to have one. And we've had great clients that have allowed us to use their home, or obviously other homes that we have in construction. We've utilized those to show people current product And so they've been able to at least see stuff. This one, knowing I was going to be president for 2020, and also having met you 5 years ago, knowing a lot of the products, I said, I want to set this home apart using a lot of the stuff I found at Tech Home, and with the relationships we were able to acquire through your platform, which is, I credit that so much to be able to utilize the people that I've met. Some have been a few multiple times, some were just a first up. They say, okay, and we kind of made a list of here's the things we'd like to really incorporate. And another blessing has been the fact that those particular companies not only were great to work with, but they encouraged doing something unique and they wanted to be part of it. So we have some cooperation regarding pricing and just great companies to work with. So between the builder end and who you've had for your different participants in regard to the vendors, it's been a great symbiotic relationship to be able to make this thing happen. And that's just great. So it's like, we want to have this home like no one else has built in Southeast Michigan before. And I believe we have been able to do that.
Cool. So why don't we walk through some of the specific features? Perhaps tell us about some of the whole home tech features or infrastructure, and then maybe give us a little virtual tour room by room where you've got some special features that you want to call out.
Yeah, you'll be able to see a lot of those features. I won't move around with the camera, but you'll be able to see as they put this together for you. Let's say some of the overall features. We've used generators, for example, substantially in the past, but actually through you, we've been able to build a relationship where we're buying generators direct from Generac, and they have the new home panel to where the transfer switch is in the panel versus a separate device. In fact, we just put in an order to buy a half a dozen more of these because we're going to incorporate those as a standard, having the transfer switch already set up and having our gas lines big enough to handle a natural gas full home backup generator. So that's one thing that we knew right off the get. With Michigan, with the inclement weather, sometimes power goes out between the thunderstorms, which we're supposed to get this afternoon, and winter time and things like that. So that was one we definitely put in right off the get. Not an over part, but that new transfer switch is awesome. Another one, we are the first home in the world to have Juno AI. They've had that.
What is that?
That is the Juno 6-inch recessed can that has smart. It is smart. So it has circadian rhythm that you can change the light from 2700, the K value, to 5000, either verbally or there's part of the app will actually do it on its own throughout the day, kind of like night shift on your iPhone. The speakers are in the light bulb with the ones you discern to be, and they're an Alexa base. So you can talk to your lights, and in this home, we have 45 of them throughout the house, from the garage to the master shower, and plays music in the ones that you dictate to be speaker ones. Otherwise, you have a communicating one that you talk to, the Alexa hub that's in the bulb as well, and you just tell it what you want it to do. So we have set up the home, for example, we walk in the front door in our home, the Alexa platform now that we decided to utilize for this home, we can say, Alexa, good morning. At that time, a whole bunch of things will happen. Our smart switches will control, the music will go on, the shades will go up, and the lights will come on preset levels, including the Juno. The Juno allows that to happen, and we haven't had to pre-wire for any speakers. It's in the bulb and it's all wireless. So utilizing something like that actually saves money for the client.
Speaking, listening, and singing light bulb is what you're telling me.
Basically, yes. And all the guys had was a prototype sitting on a table. We came into that meeting, our boardroom meeting at your thing, that they had this thing, like, that's pretty cool. Brendan and I were together and we thought, that is really unique, and it's still not even on the shelf yet. I believe it will be here this fall, to where they're going to have it available to technicians and to electricians. This is something that it should not sell through Amazon. This is something specific and needs to be programmed. But
Yeah.
Absolutely an amazing light system. And they're going to continue to come out with a mini recessed and sloped recess, but their first out of the box was the 6-inch standard flat can.
Very cool.
Legrand has a lot of very unique product. Their designer series, instead of being your typical standard device or decor device, is a square device. The switch and the plug are a square device that are used, and they're also programmable, either through the Alexa app, through an app on your phone. There's a lot of ways to be able to control them, but they're all smart. So again, along with the rest of the recess that we already have, now Alexa controls those as well. So you can do room by room, but the switch is still there. So if anything, let's say your Wi-Fi went down, it's not like, oh my gosh, my house can't control. Everything is still controlled by a switch, and those are still dimmable. So that's really good.
That European aesthetic with the kind of
really unique, much nicer device.
It's a French company. David, I'm from the Midwest too, so I would say Legrand usually. But when you get closer to France, like I am now in Boston, it's Legrand. It's Legrand.
Legrand, okay.
Yeah,
I love their pop-out plugs too. You just the plug is flat, and you just push it, and you get 3 plugs that pop out of the wall. Things like the island, things like that around the house. It's just they're beautiful to look at, and the under cabinet lighting. No longer do we have the under cabinet plugs in lighting. It's all tucked up in the Legrand device that has the plugs, USB charging, and the lights all built into one that are completely hidden when you're standing in the kitchen.
Now that's a company that I've been working with since they arrived here in the US about 20 years ago, and started aggregating their players, but they address both functionality and aesthetics in a strong way, and so it's great to see you leveraging those feature sets in the home. Anything else you want to?
A lot of stuff. So
okay,
I can get
me
through
more. I want more. I want as much as I can get.
Hunter Douglas. The blinds we have, they're a wired blind, so a Cat 5 line running to the different windows, which we have on, I think, just about every window in the home. Again, either remote or voice. So it does exactly what you want it to do. And the different products that they have available to them, I end up using a variety of the Hunter Douglas products. Ones that either full blackout shades, one that open up partway, they can tuck open, lots of different looks, any look that people can consider. In this whole home, we did a lot that was more contemporary. You can kind of see them in the background. That's a great room. We have them here.
And those you're running Cat 5 to each of the shade locations?
Yep, because they're a powered shade. I could have done it with the battery operation.
PoE.
Or we can do it wired. So during construction, it was simple to run some Cat 5s down, and our panel in the basement can control that. So that was really good. Now, knowing that we were going to do so many of these IP addresses, every switch, every Alexa light, all the blind, and a lot of other products, we decided, again, through you guys, we were looking at what is the best network that we can put in the home, and we end up using Luxel. A very robust network. I think right now we have over 250 IP addresses before we have someone living in the home. And right now, like this computer's on it, all our phones and things like that are on it too. But the whole network, we have a total of 5 wireless access points throughout the home, and even on the lanai. So we get it outside of the lanai, patio, and the entire real good coverage. And unlike some of the other wireless access points, they can move around and continually switch between the different devices, and that has worked out really well so far. It's been really seamless. Of course, our pipeline coming in had to be high. How much was that, Brian?
About 1 gig we have coming in.
We have 1 gig coming in. We wanted to use again, if we're going to do this, we wanted to make sure we had plenty coming in, so one weak link didn't kind of wreck the whole system.
And you've got a hybrid network there with hardwired and wireless distribution of your signals, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. We use the doorbell, which again, that ties into the network as well. We still decided to use that, even though we also use cameras. We have 4 cameras on the exterior. We use Compo for that, but the Ring doorbell was great. Through our low voltage contractor, we use Honeywell for the security. It's because we don't need to go too nuts here. It's a pretty good, safe neighborhood. So, but your typical exterior doors, motions, glass break, smoke, fire, so on and so forth. And Honeywell works great through the network as well. All of our wiring and structure was done through the on-cue cabinets that we utilize for that, including all of our Cat 6 and the other lines, the TV lines going throughout. They're all down into the end of the on-cue. One of my favorites that I met the very first meeting, I think we were one of the ones to buy from them as an outsider. I was able to get them involved with our local plumbing supply was Aqua. So all of our hose bibs, now we have the stainless ones on the outside, they close flush. You're getting a bunch of the accessories, the quick connects and the hoses actually from them as well.
And they're good for the freeze cycle in some place like Michigan, right? There's
for sure that you cannot get a frozen device, even if you inadvertently or a client inadvertently leaves their hose on. The PSF that is required to break the internal device of the Aqua is substantially higher than their quick disconnect, and that was by design. So if they happen to leave it in and it freezes, it cannot freeze in the house like your typical traditional hose bibs, and they're beautiful to look at. People say, like, I can't believe that's a hose bib. They love them. We're selling in almost every home now. And again, that was from our original meeting when they first came to.
I think they won a Brilliance Award Product of the Year, which is, typically people are thinking about whole home control or something like that. But here's this outdoor water device that won the award, and I guess I can see why.
You can see why, but it's strange to see them at your show.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we did. And we saw them at IBS, as a follow-up. But seeing it at your show, like, this is so good. And what a great concept. They really did a great job in what they did, and they continue to come up with more product, and we continue to buy from them directly, which has been a good relationship.
Yeah.
This is the first home we did with the leak detection, which was Streamlabs for that. And that also has an Alexa platform capability or your phone with an app. So if your son or daughter's in the shower too long, you can say, Alexa, turn off the water, and it will do so. I cannot say that too loud. It'll happen here. And having that for, especially we do a lot of vacation homes and lake homes for people that go away for the winter. If the power happens to go out, something happens, that's going to go ahead and shut that water system off with 1/100th of 1 gallon leakage. It'll detect also after learning your day-to-day functionality that you do. So that
I mean, it's interesting. Water control inside and outside the house has really been an area where there's been a lot of innovation the last 5 years, and it wasn't even on the map on the tech side of things until just the last few years.
Which brought up the other water one. We use the LK water bottle filler, let's call it. And instead of having that in your kitchen, we put it in the family entry. So before you depart, go to the garage, it's right there, and it has the laser filler, so it fills up the bottle without having to hold it there against. You just set it in place. After about 1 second, detect that the bottle is there, fill up the bottle till about 90% full, and stop. And it actually tells you how many bottles you're saving by doing that. And so we don't have to get the continued water bottle. So when we have guests come into the model, we say, hey, come and fill your water bottle, and they're all filling up. And it's a chilled, filtered water, and that filters last, 2 or 3 years. It's easy to swap out, and we put that down in our mechanical area in the basement where we put the infrastructure for it, and just the beautiful facade of that product is right in the wall in the family entry.
Now you need to do Compo branded water bottles that people will take out and take to work with them, and then you've got your logo on there.
I think that's a good idea. But I was thinking that maybe you guys would make those for us. But that's a good idea. Yep. Panasonic fans, we use them more sparingly in the past, but again, building the relationship, all we do is Panasonic now. The 0.2 zones, they're ultra quiet, they're moisture rated, because unlike most builders, we always put fans in the shower or tub shower areas, take the humidity out where it is, so we don't have to have any issues with humidity issues with drywall, with taking the moisture where we don't want it. Even when we do steam showers and things like that, it'll just be on a separate switch, and then immediately you can take that steam out where it is versus taking it into the bathroom, into another room first. So the Panasonic fans have been terrific to utilize for that. Again, that's kind of the overall stuff that we did through the house. And then again, room by room, it's a lot of just indirect lighting, specialty stuff where we have the speakers, obviously TVs, structured wiring, more of the general stuff, but having the platform, no one has done that here yet. We were a little concerned about it because we hadn't done it either. But so far, with Brian as Director of Operations really spending time on it, I think the only downside we've had is the fact that a lot of the companies from Streamlabs and the other Juno, all these companies were going to come in, but with COVID, no one's been able to travel because of corporate. So we haven't had them be able to get in. We're just sharing like we did with you, just sharing pictures and things like that.
Right.
And they want to probably troubleshoot anything we've run into a lot easier than we can, kind of starting from scratch versus them doing it. So if there's any downside, that's been the only one. It had nothing to do with them. It's have to do with travel and policy, just like.
Is the parade open to the public yet, or is
Parade
that...
opens as of today, even though we've been open for 5
Right.
weeks. We did a soft open, and our average Saturday and Sunday, we're doing weekends only, has been 30 to 50 people a day in a 5-hour period. So it's as much as we can handle with 2 or 3 attendants, handling the people, getting them to sign in. We've already sold homes from this. We've already had tremendous amount of feedback. Everybody's just ooh and ah. They've never seen that. I've never seen that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's been the continuous thing. And again, all or 95% of it based on relationships we gained from you.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you as much as you've thanked us for coming on. We couldn't have done this without you guys, and we're really appreciative. And we've learned a ton, even though we were always on the cutting edge. This just took us a huge step further to be able to step up our game, distinguish ourselves from other builders by doing and allowing and having things that people are not using or not even aware of. They don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And if things come through, the contractors don't necessarily push it. It's on us as the builders and as the salespeople for ourselves to be able to say, hey, have you thought about this? Not only have been able to do a lot of the unique things in the home for them, but of course we've been able to make more money because being able to upsell these products, we're gonna charge, and we're gonna charge for any of our time and the handling of it. People are appreciative. They get better product, stuff that no one else has, and we make more money. That's a win-win-win.
Well, that's awesome, and I'm glad you met a lot of the vendor base at our Tech Home Builder Summits. Talk a little bit about your trade partners on the integrator subcontractor side of things. You have a pretty rich set of features there, and I would imagine that there's a lot of collaboration in terms of arrival on the job site and the pre-planning. I mean, what are some of your keys to managing the subcontractors effectively on a complicated tech forward home like this?
The biggest part is discussion up front. Getting right in design while the home is in design for the home and the rooms and the exterior. We're with the client talking about the rest, whether it be cabinet design, where they want, what surfaces, and then totally into tech. We start our clients out with a tech allowance of $10,000. It's just set aside for whatever they might consider utilizing. And some people are within that allowance. Maybe they're elderly. They don't know what they don't know. They think, but having a model is being able to say, you know what, I didn't think I wanted any of this stuff, but now after seeing it and being able to talk to it myself, this is really a lot easier than I had expected to be. I always have the people that think they're going to have like 12 remotes sitting on the table and they have no idea which button to push, and they spend all that money to stuff that they can't use, which is why not use Alexa for this one? Because it's something people often have just one Alexa device and they're used to talking to it to listen to the news or listen to music or to get a recipe. So why not try to utilize that platform? And it really worked out, and that's one of the reasons we did.
Do you have a master planning meeting with your low voltage, your mechanical, and your electrical contractor? Because you got to get power to the right spots. You've got to have the physical pathways and spaces for some of this equipment to be built in. Is there a technical master planning meeting early on where those
Yes.
of handoffs can be worked out?
Yes, but separately. So in our case, again, it's us having the conversation before we have CAD, and before we're starting to work specifically with the contractor, because again, we're versed enough to be able to get into 90+% of what they may want to do.
Okay.
And we have different trade partners on it's called the structured wiring side, some that just can do any kind of wiring we ask, and others that are either their own platform like Roll 4 or Savant or one of these, which we didn't do here purposely because, again, we didn't want to do too many platforms and make it too complicated.
Right.
We will actually have a list of questions that we start them with. Have you considered, have you thought about, would you like to see this? Then when we do have those meetings with our contractors, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical and low voltage, then we bring those up again under whatever umbrella that product may be. Sometimes, obviously, there's a cross coordination between. We'll have that same conversation. We sit them down in a boardroom at our office and just continue to go through room by room in the CAD plan. Specifically, have you considered, would you like to do? And that it takes what it takes. It takes sometimes a significant amount of time, but boy, people are so appreciative. And like, I had no idea what went in under the hood to get this thing to where I wanted it. But we don't want them ever coming back and say, David, I wish you would have told me I could have done that for $1,000 or $500. I would have done that. So we're opening our mouths, but it always costs them a little more money.
So involving your subs in this discovery process with the client early on then feeds downstream efficiencies in terms of them planning and coordinating the work.
Absolutely. So we have that meeting at the office with them, going through the laundry list of what they may want to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Contractor, and we mark up a plan specific to them. It's just their stuff on the plan. They take that back, the contractor, they put numbers to it all, and I often will do a two-step, either a prep for or an actual full, through the completion of it.
Right.
And that gives people a choice of do it all or just at least prepare for the future.
Yeah.
Then the people, we go through that in detail with them in regard to the pricing. Then they go through yes, no on each of those products. And then when it's their time for that contractor to come in, the same thing happens with a specific walkthrough at the home, marking out where all these things may be, whether it's wiring for the blinds, whether it be wiring for specific devices, whether it's a lighting control system, whatever it may be, that how it's going to be incorporated. So it's a multiple step process through each of those contractors, one-on-one with the client and Brian and I, to make sure that this whole thing is seamless, because it's just a lot of time.
Yeah.
But again, the final product is great, and we're charging for the time one way or another. We're getting paid for all the time that we invest in this.
Right. Well, I think we've hit a good stopping point here. This was a fascinating tour of the home and of your vision and your processes for delivering on that vision. Congratulations on this success, and hopefully you'll have more folks being able to attend the physical location, and it continues to be a business generating vehicle for you. We really appreciate you. And Brian, you're back there somewhere. Thank you for taking the time to explain this all to us.
And really looking forward to the next show. Hopefully it can still happen here.
We'll hope to see you in December in Phoenix. It's looking good. We're tracking the virus and our ability to produce a safe event very closely, and we're feeling good about Phoenix in December now. So hopefully we'll see you there.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks again, guys. We really
Thanks
appreciate it.
again.